spell wireless to a sometimes rainy, sometimes overcast Sawyer Point on the Ohio River. Hi again, everybody. I'm Paul Sunderland, joined by Mike Dodd. And the 1998 season has brought a lot of changes, some of them very big. Kent Steffes and Jose Loyola, seemingly for all times, have gone their separate ways. But Kent Steffes, not necessarily going out begging or wanting, has picked up Mike Whitmarsh, a player you are very familiar with, as his partner for the rest of the year. Care of Karch Kirai and Adam Johnson. And now a look at our sun-kissed finishers. We start in 9th position. Steffes and Whitmarsh, a dismal finish for them, but big things to come. Rob Hyger and Troy Tanner also finish 9th. Bill Bullion and Ian Clark a 9th as well. Mike Dodd will move up to the 5th place finishers in this single elimination tournament, and they're all yours.
Definitely disappointing for Hyger and Tanner. They just expect more out of themselves. Here you see Castillo and Doble, after upsetting Whitmarsh and Steffes, take a 5th place. A great finish for them. Lewis and Swadek, Holder and Rogers, again 5th place. They always seem to be at 5th. And then you have an all-Brazilian 3rd place finishers. Franco Roberto Lopez, Neto Lopez, and Garrido, and Gomez.
And we have one Brazilian in the finalists. So there were Brazilians all around here in Cincinnati, and all of them playing very good volleyball. Jose Loyola not here. He is playing in an international tournament with his new partner up in Toronto. But we're set to go for our finals. And once again, to remind you, Stein Metzger and Eduardo Bacil, better known throughout the volleyball world as Anginho, playing in their 2nd tournament together. This is their first ever final together. And Stein Metzger relying very heavily on the much more experienced Anginho for points and plays just like that, starting things off with an ace. 1-0, and obviously, Mike, I think a good start imperative for the underdogs, and I don't think that's an overstatement. Anginho and Stein Metzger. Another tough serve down the line. Nobody. Side out to Karch Kirai.
Paul, you've got a steady rain coming down right now. That's going to affect play a little bit. It's going to affect ball control. That's going to be a factor. The players are going to have to do a lot of bump setting.
It's affecting us right now. My notes are soaked. Our monitors are soaked. Hopefully we won't have any technical problems. There is Adam Johnson, now 33 years of age, his 9th year as a pro, has won 33 tournaments and an awful lot of money along the way, over $1.42 million. Currently, that 33 win total puts him at number 10 all time, and he is still moving up the charts, looking for 2 in a row. Metzger back to serve. Had a brilliant career at UCLA under Al Skates. AJ takes a look and easily off the block of Anginho. Now, is that the obvious weakness of Anginho and Metzger, is their ability to block for points?
Well, especially when you have Anginho at the net. Metzger's got some long arms. He's got a good jump. He's a great athlete, and he's blocked a lot of balls this tournament so far. So when he's up at the net, that's definitely the better combination for himself and Anginho.
So Karch Kirai, 3 gold medals to his credit, now 37 years of age, 132 wins overall, number 2 on the win list, and number 1 in terms of money at over $2.75 million. 13th year on tour, 5 times an MVP. And there is Anginho. Eduardo Bacil is his given name, goes by Anginho, meaning little angel. They're on top 1-0. Our final here from Cincinnati. Ball served just out of bounds.
Karch Kirai and Adam Johnson definitely in a great position to pick up number 3. They were in a little bit of a mental slump throughout the middle part of the season, Paul. And talking to them 2 weeks ago after they won, they said, we just started to relax and have fun again. And that's the key to winning, I think. You got to have fun out there.
Well, you always live by that. Always had a good time playing. Well, you always live by that. Always had a good time playing. Play with some great partners. You have to keep a smile on your face playing all those years with Tim Hovland.
And with Whitty. Great players, great blockers, and make it easy on the defense back there. Lots of smiles.
6'4", 205 pounds, in superb shape. You get a closer look at Stein Metzger, you can see that. His first full year on tour. Dug by Kirai and successfully off Anginho, and Metzger and Bacil continue to lead early in this 2 out of 3 final, 1-0.
Now here might be the other Achilles heel of Anginho and Metzger. Anginho, before he got tooled on the block there, Paul, dropped off the net, had the dig, but couldn't convert on the point opportunity, and they've got to convert their point opportunities.
I got it.
Karch reading Anginho. And quickly, hard cross court, and we're tied at 1.
Great anticipation by Karch-Karai. Eugenio saw Johnson dropping off the net, thought he had the easy loopy over the head, and you see Karch just covering behind Adam. That's a great anticipation, and you don't get that ball unless you anticipate on the beach.
Serving Anginio early, and this time, as you mentioned, Karch not anticipating, not breaking early, and it looks like a very simple play to side out, but Anginio's got to wonder, when is Karch going to break on that shot, and when can I cut him off?
Exactly, and you saw on his approach, Eugenio is one of those players that takes a good long look at the defense just as he's making his spike attempt, and so Karch has got to wait and then make his move.
Adam Johnson, pretty tight set, but has no problem with that. AJ with one of the quickest arms on the beach, and now at 33 years of age, doesn't seem to be slowing down with respect to snapping on the ball.
No, his arm has never been a question. He rips that ball down the line better than any right side player on the beach right now, and now he's going to try to rip off a jump serve.
Had several aces in the third and deciding game in their semifinal matchup against Neto and Lopez. That ball hit down the middle. You know, when I watch Anginio, and you made a good point about the way he drops his head. Sometimes does he delay a little bit too much and forget about just banging the ball?
I think so. That's a very sophisticated skill that takes years and years of practice. Steffes, Johnson, they've got it wired. Eugenio's getting it wired, but every once in a while you can tend to look too much, and then you can be dependent on your shots, and sometimes you just got to go up and bang the ball.
Because Karch and AJ, although a good blocking team, not one of the most intimidating blocking teams on the beach by any stretch. Adam Johnson about 6'3", maybe Karch 6'3½". Both jump exceptionally well. Karch an exceptional blocker indoors, and how would you rank him as a blocker outdoors?
I'd say inch for inch, he's probably the best blocker because he's not as big as a Whitmarsh or a Steffes or a Loyola, but Karch gets his hands on a lot of balls.
Good cover by Metzger. And in honor of the World Cup in Brazil, fabulous play by Anginio.
No comment here. Let's just sit back and enjoy it. Great cover by Metzger, and here goes Eduardo.
Ronaldo would be very, very happy. Look at that play. Only the Brazilians. And we're going to see that play a lot more because there are a lot of Brazilians out on the Miller Lite AVP Tour right now.
And Eugenio is 2 for 2 with the scissors kick set in a crucial moment during their semifinal match. He saved a ball right along the sidelines with a scissors kick, set his partner 5-0, and they put it away for a huge point.
You've got that play, don't you? You just don't break it out very often. No, don't have that one?
Nowhere close to that play.
Johnson serving hard up the middle. Talk about the surface here in just a moment. Very hard packed, a lot of rain, a lot of humidity the last couple of days. What sort of factor is that for both teams?
Well, both teams, as you can tell, are not huge physically. You don't have the Whitmarsh, you don't have the Loyola out there. They're all medium-sized players, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". So the hard-packed surface helps their jump, helps their mobility, and it's probably why they're both in the final here.
Metzger been bothered by some shoulder problems earlier in the year. Nice block, but just out of bounds. That would have been big for Anginio. Doesn't get many stuff blocks, but that looked pretty good in the beginning.
That's one of those plays. Here you see Jack up and over, and the ball just missing the line. And that's one of those types of plays that when Eugenio goes up and gets a point blocking, you feel like you've stole one. They're going to get their points on jump serving and defense, and any blocks they get are just gravy.
Virtually every serve right now going to Anginio, and when I spoke with them about an hour and a half ago and I asked who's getting most of the serves, Anginio looked over at Stein and said he's getting all of them. So maybe Anginio's pretty fresh here. Not a bad idea in terms of being able to get served a lot in the finals if you can work it out when you're fresh.
Well, obviously Karch and Adam think that that's the way they're going to go, but I guarantee you Karch is one of those players that if it's not going well for a while, he doesn't stick to that thing for the whole match. He'll switch it up and go to Stein.
Karch bump setting well. Was there a touch on the block? A touch called by Brant Lee, our #1 referee. The linesman didn't give him much support, but the angle, the way the ball left the court would certainly lead you to believe that it was touched off the block.
It's definitely one of those plays that Adams hitting the ball cross court. It hits the top of the net. Sometimes funny things happen off the top of that net, but that had to hit some part of Stein's arm and ricochet off to the side. You don't see a whole lot of arguing from Stein and Eugenio. That usually tells you something.
He was not a drama major at UCLA. And Gino blocked by Karch Kirai. Kirai and Johnson now with the 2-1 lead. A lot of siding out early.
Here's that Karch Kirai taking a hard cross court, piking over for the stuffed block.
There he is, inch for inch once again. Karch Kirai sealing the net, getting an excellent position to score that point. Kirai and Johnson came in as the #2 seed, and it wasn't an easy road for them all the way through. They beat Addy and Cummings in the first round fairly handily, and then Wayne Seligson and Brooke Vandeweghe gave them a lot of trouble, 9-7 and 8-5, although it was 2-0, both games on time. In the next round, Johnson and Kirai beat Mark Kierans and Kevin Martin very, very handily. And then they beat Lopez and Neto in the semifinal to advance in 3 long games.
Stein Metzger just jump served off the referee stand, trying to let B. Lee know he wasn't too pleased with that previous call. All the players getting a little chuckle out of that.
Well, B might have been a little more receptive if you were the one that had done the jump serving into his head, but I don't know. Stein Metzger's still a pretty new but very talented name on the beach. That ball over the top and down by Karch Kirai. They take the 3-1 lead in this first of best-of-3 final here in Cincinnati. Kirai and Johnson on top by a couple as we take the side change. Back right after this. Our best 2 out of 3 final. Kirai and Johnson, Metzger and Bacil tied at 6. A look at downtown Synergy Field where the Reds play Major League Baseball, and a look at a mix of old and new downtown, and a perfect segue from old to new here in the audience. The Speedo AVP Juniors Tour hits Cleveland, Ohio, June 27th and 28th. Mark down those dates for registration and competition information. Contact Lee Beaumont at 440-358-0893. Great program brought to you by Speedo, giving kids all over America a chance to play pro beach volleyball minus the pro. That ball off the outside hand of Karch Kirai. Again, this first game tied at 6. It is 2-11, win by 2, and now about 2 minutes and 23 seconds remaining on the game clock.
And that's when Eugenio's at his best. Looking the court over, just chopping it around the block. That's Eugenio at his finest.
It has a lot of experience in finals matches. We'll run that down for you. Adam Johnson pinging the ball down the right sideline. And Eugenio has 8 runner-ups to his credit and finished as high as 3rd last year. So lots of experience in these situations.
Yeah, this is Stein's first final, but Eugenio's been there quite a few times.
The first foreign player, along with Jose Loyola, to ever make it into a final, and that was his first year on tour back in 1993 in Fort Worth, Texas.
That ball ricocheting off Karch's arms. Couple expletives, I think, that we can't mention on air, but Karch, I guarantee you, wants that one back, because that's right in his breadbasket. 9 times out of 10, he controls that ball.
Well, you don't see Karch Kirai miss that ball very often. Don't know if he was a little bit handcuffed or fooled by the pace, but usually makes that dig easily. Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai passing and setting the ball very well right now. What adjustments would they have made after giving up 3 aces to Stein Metzger and 1 to Anginio? They're passing and setting the ball better now.
Well, usually what you want to try to do is have each player take an extra step towards the middle. Give up that ace down the line and force them to beat. They're beating you in the middle. Take that middle away and let them beat you somewhere else. And that's what Adam and Karch are trying to do right now.
Nice set by Stein Metzger. You don't see a lot of players setting the ball out here with their hands. Not raining any longer. It was just pouring as we started our championship match here in Cincinnati. But the skies clearing just a little bit and cooperating. But the ball a little bit wet and damp.
Skies have cleared. It's actually perfect playing conditions right now if you're a player.
Good.
Touch by Stein Metzger, but good location by Adam Johnson.
And that's the Achilles heel again. Eugenio got a pretty good jump on that ball defensively, but the fact that he and Stein can't really put up that humongous block, Karch and Adam, their shots are coming from a lower trajectory. They don't have to loop it over the block, so even when you do anticipate well, you're not able to pick that ball up on defense.
About Karch Kirai, missed 7 tournaments at the beginning of last year. Only 4 wins, but you go back through the seasons. We'll break that down for you next time we get a shot of Karch. What unbelievable performances he has had. Dig by Metzger, over the top and out of bounds. A chance to convert. Good looking dig, good looking set. just cuffed it long as Karch continues to serve after they take the 7-6 lead.
Just great high eye-hand coordination by Karai, getting those hands up in front of his face. And you keep the pressure on long enough, what happens? The players hit out and make those unforced errors.
Karai and Johnson looking for their 3rd win of the year, 2nd in a row. And last year they won 4 tournaments together, and all of those consecutively. So if they get on a roll, they can be a very, very troubling team for everybody else on the Miller Lite AVP Tour.
Most definitely. Nice little chop down by Stein Metzger, and I think that's the calming influence of Eugenio. Maybe a year ago, even 6 months ago, Metzger might have got frustrated by hitting that last ball out and compounded his error with another one. Now they're settling down and they're siding out.
Nice dig by Eugenio.
And no one. Help me, over.
That ball right on the end line, and Adam Johnson having to adjust a little bit to a not-so-perfect set from Karch Kirai.
Adam Johnson just taking a little bit off that, cuffing the back part of the line. Tough break for Eugenio and Stein. Eugenio with a great dig, and he just couldn't really put anything on the ball, and Adam saves that set that was a little bit deep off the net by Karch Kirai.
Less than perfect. The 1994 King of the Beach, Adam Johnson, back to serve. Tough chance for Stein Metzger. Adam Johnson crushing it off the pecs of Stein Metzger, and Johnson and Kirai now take the 8-6 lead. Johnson and Kirai, excuse me, Mike, broke out 4-1, and since that time, Metzger and Eugenio have been right in contact until now. They trail by 2.
And that was a great, deep jump serve by Adam Johnson. Sometimes you don't see it in the stats, but your best serves are the ones that just get the teams in trouble and give you a free ball so you have the easy point opportunity.
Sand timeout taken by Stein Metzger and Eugenio. They are out of sand timeouts, but I think a good one called. And you, when you played with Tim Hovland and when you played with Mike Whitmarsh, very adept at using your timeouts.
And that's the Eugenio factor again, 27 years old, but very experienced. They're not going to give up a bunch of points in a row, and that's why they're in this final. And Eugenio's talking to Stein right now saying, let's just relax. Let's get a side out. We got some good jump serves. We can score points. All they need is to score 1 point, and they can eliminate the clock factor and push Johnson and Kirai into overtime.
All right, sand timeout has expired, making good use of it. We'll see if Stein, Metzger, and Eugenio can get a much-needed side out right here. Johnson and Kirai leading 8-6. Game 1 of our championship here at the AVP Open at Cincinnati. Adam Johnson with the dig, but can't quite control it. Good side out to Eugenio.
That's 2 breaks for Stein and Eugenio. The first one ricocheted off Karch's arms, and I think if you look at Adam Johnson's reaction on this play, he's in perfect position to make the dig. He just doesn't control the ball and says, sorry, partner, my bad.
Adam Johnson, the 1993 Defensive Player of the Year on the Miller Lite AVP Tour, and certainly one of the best then and certainly one of the best now, along with his partner. Nice chop by Karch Kirai. Shoulder looks just fine.
Dr. Thabitz all smiles up at Stanford Medical Center. Karch Kirai just saving another trot set by just cuffing it inside of Eugenio's block. And again, Eugenio, when he sees the ball that close, has got to forget about taking an area and just reach over and try to get the ball.
Metzger setting the ball exceptionally well. There's the knuckle poke. Karch stretched out. And Stein Metzger on the overset. Karch looking up at B. Lee to see if that ball was on his side of the net. Good play, and oftentimes a very difficult play to make, but handled well by the rookie Stein Metzger.
And a great knuckle shot by Eugenio. They were arguing that Karch might have lifted that ball, but it looked like he was all fists on that. Adam tried to give him the perfect set and overset it, and missing a great opportunity on a great individual effort by Karch Kirai.
Eugenio to serve, going to Karch. Trailing by 2 under a minute. Good side out by Karch Kirai. Life on the volleyball court has been very difficult for Eugenio since his Brazilian friend and countryman who he came here with dropped him as a partner in 1995. He's played with any number of different players, Randy Stoklos, Rob Heiger, Ian Clark, Mark Pa'alui, and tried to find someone that he really felt good chemistry with. And I know that these guys are feeling good about themselves because they're in the finals, but they seemed really good together when I was talking to them earlier.
Well, it's not just this final. They've been playing great for a couple weeks. And there's a great point-saving defensive scramble play, and that's what they've been doing all weekend long. Here we're going to see it right here. they're in deep trouble. What a left arm stab by Stein, and Eugenio with the soft block. And these are the kind of plays that frustrate Karian Johnson. Great point opportunities, and Eugenio and Stein scramble, get the side out, and Karai stuck at 8 still.
And those are the kind of plays that teams with chemistry make, because otherwise, you know, you're in trouble and you give up a little bit. You don't have that complete commitment to one another during a troubled play like that as they hold things at 8-6, even though Metzger follows up and misses that serve. Only played 9 tournaments last year. Karch missing the first 7, recovering from shoulder surgery. Tough chance for Eugenio. Ball set well back, and he flails that long. What a tough way to finish off a fabulous rally. A couple of marvelous digs by both of these teams.
These are just 2 great defensive teams going at it. And unfortunately, we miss all the digs and just see the set that was so far inside that Eugenio, once he's that far inside and that far off the net, loses all of his range, and he just couldn't keep the ball in the court.
Metzger knew it was a bad play as soon as he set the ball. You saw them looking at one another. Metzger back talking to his older partner. Metzger played at UCLA under Al Skates from 92 to 96, 2 times a first-team All-American, and said, Eugenio just keeps teaching me so much. I'm learning so much. I've got to be more consistent. Wanted to break into the top 20 this year.
He's got the physical and the technical skills to be right there to play with anybody.
Johnson once again down the sideline and can hit the ball hard down the sideline, hard cross court. One of the best offensive players on the beach.
AJ ripping the ball down the line. Now we've got 22 seconds left in the game, Paul. If you're Adam and Karch, you want to keep these serves in. You maybe don't have to go for the ace. Try to get a dig, try to get a longer rally, and they'll finish out this first game. Adam takes a little bit off it.
And this rally just might about sew it up.
See, this is the kiss of death for Stein and Eugenio.
Well, game 1 apparently will go to Karch Kirai and Adam Johnson. 9.2 seconds remaining, and Kirai and Johnson leading 10-6 as we will take the side change. Metzger and Eugenio were right there at 6-all, but 4 straight points, and Johnson and Kirai, the number 2 seeds, look like they're going to take game 1. Fan. The Bulls stay together?
I hope so.
Kill Reinsdorf and Krause.
Yeah.
Not literally, just figuratively, ladies and gentlemen.
Lose the owners, lose the general managers, and keep the players.
I would vote for that. Did you pick Chicago going into that series?
Well, how can you not pick them? I mean,
good.
Michael's so tough, and Scotty, you know, he didn't play particularly well the last couple games, but when he was on his stroke, he was almost better to watch than Michael when he's really got it going.
He can do a lot of things. Metzger is dug by AJ. Game point number 1 for Kirai and Johnson, but they're not too excited. Only 2.2 seconds left. They will take game 1. Time will expire on this next serve, put in play by Metzger. But Eugenio and Metzger showed that they can hang with Kirai and Johnson. Just a couple of errors and a couple of plays, and they would have been right with them. In the soccer vein, Adam Johnson
in
off his jet.
The World Cup.
The Brazilian Eugenio, much more artistic than the American Adam Johnson. Maybe that's not a portend to what's going to happen in the World Cup, but game 1 goes to the number 2 seeded team, and maybe a big favorite, Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai. Back with game 2 after this. Throwback is Todd Rogers, but certainly everything looking forward. Do they come into game 2 here? This would be so huge for Stein and Eugenio to win a championship.
I'd say no lacking in confidence at all. They were playing them head for head all the way through the match. Karch and Adam actually made some great plays toward the end. They didn't give it away, Stein and Eugenio. So they've got to be feeling good going into game 2 that they can play with these guys.
Metzger immediately facing the blocking skills, not once, but twice, of Karch Kirai. As you said, inch for inch, probably the best.
Here you're going to see Karch just up and over, making a great save on the first block. And that's Adam, that's experience. Just keep the ball in play, keep the pressure on. Karch comes back the second one and roofs it straight down.
Yep. High set, giving Metzger time to make the room. Another dig by AJ. And nice play by Metzger, 25 years old, after his career was concluded at UCLA in 1996, played professionally indoors in Turkey, and now solely dedicated to playing on the beach.
Another great dig by Adam Johnson, but Stein comes back and makes a defensive play of his own, and that's what they're doing great. They're not giving up a lot of points in a row.
Metzger used just out of bounds.
He's got a little smile on his face, but he's frustrated up there. He's got his hands on a lot of balls, and they've just been ricocheting off his hands just out of bounds. This is good blocking position, but sometimes the luck of the draw, when you got a guy hitting as hard as Adam Johnson, you can't control that ball in your blocking motion.
Boy, Kirai and Johnson are digging a lot of balls here early in game two, trying to close it out, and off to a very good start. 2-0, Kirai and Johnson leading over Metzger and Anginio.
And everyone's digging, but more importantly, Karch Kirai is finishing. And that's the key to the great defensive players. Everyone can dig, but digging and then getting back on your feet and transitioning, that separates the great ones from just the great defensive players.
Karch there again. And Adam Johnson setting very well. I know that was a relatively easy chance, but that was in perfect position for old Pinky Hat to take a swing.
Well, Anginio and Metzger are going to have to take a timeout or something right now, because Karch is just locked into their shots. He's locked into their hits, and they got to change the momentum a little bit.
Do you take a timeout now, or do you wait for the side change? And we're getting the answer right now. I was curious as to what you might have done strategically, but Anginio and Metzger will take the sand timeout right now and try to stem the tide.
Definitely. I would have taken a sand timeout, because you don't want to go down 4-0 in the second game and just get that much more behind the 8-ball. If they can take a little sand timeout, break the rhythm, get a few side outs, get point number one, get on the board, get a little momentum going, they're in much better shape going into the side change.
Enjoying a good tournament here in Cincinnati. More next week in Cleveland. Our beach volleyball coverage continues from Ohio when the tour heads to Cleveland next Sunday, June 28th. It's the AVP Tour on Fox Sports Net. Be sure and check your local listings for the time it will air in your respective market.
And the sand timeout paid off. Stein got up and banged it off Adams' block. See if they can get a point, get on the board, and get going in the right direction.
Stein Metzger, born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, went to Punahou High School, a school that has produced a long, long list of superior volleyball players. Adam Johnson banging down the middle, and one of them, I know you remember personally, but did you remember that Peter Ehrman won a tournament with Karch Kirai, the Hawaii State Championships, probably back in 1979, a rare bit of beach volleyball trivia.
That might be one of the few asterisks on Karch's open win resume.
I got you.
There's some other guys with quite a few asterisks, but that might be the one. Maybe that outrigger open that he won with Hovland, too. That might be a slight asterisk. But
see, that's what's perfect about my record. I've never won an open on the beach, so I have no asterisk next to any of my results.
That's right. Flawless.
No
flawless
guilt.
Record.
No guilt on my part. Anginio going high loopy to Adam Johnson, running him deep. And a net violation and tooled by Stein Metzger. Karch Kirai, just to continue that thought, has won with St. John Smith, Brent Frohoff, Tim Hovland, Scott Akatubby, as we get a look at Adam Johnson. Once again, a very, very quick arm swing. There's Peter Ehrman. I'm putting an asterisk next to it right now just for you, Mike Dodd, Kent Steffes, and Adam Johnson. A lot of different partners.
You're forgetting one at least.
I don't think so.
He won 3 tournaments with me.
Well, you got to check the AVP record books then, or I have to look a little more closely. I'm just getting you. I knew they were there.
Long time ago.
Here's Stein Metzger ripping the ball hard cross court. Maybe Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai making a mistake. They had all the momentum, and they're going to Metzger an awful lot, who follows things up with his first ace right up the middle. I won't give that one hubby wife credit. That one was just untouchable, just inside the end line.
That was a rocket, and they answered our question. They took the sand, they got a few side outs, and they got that ace serve, and now they're in much better shape.
Finally, get on the scoreboard. After winning game one, Kirai and Johnson break on top. tournament here on Fox Sports Net. Paul Sunderland with Mike Dodd, Kirian Johnson, the winner of game 1. Best 2 out of 3 games, broke out on top 3-0, but Stein Metzger with the ace, now 3-1 at the side change. Very hard-packed, soaking surface right now. That ball set a little bit back, and A.J. dealing with it long down the line.
A.J. with great court vision, and Paul, the umbrellas are back out again. It's starting to drizzle a little bit. Keep an eye on the ball control, but so far, rain or shine, these players have had great ball control, great sighting out, and just fantastic defense on both sides.
I don't think much impact on the game. It'll probably take Stein Metzger's hands out of the match, but he can bump set exceptionally well.
Great ball control.
Blocked by Karch Kiraly. We brought up the subject of how good a blocker was Karch Kiraly early in this match. And Mike Dodd, you said maybe the best inch for inch, and he has really turned it on blocking in game 2.
I think that's really been the difference in the match, is Karch's blocking and Karch's and Adams' transition. They've been converting their defensive opportunities. Stein and Eugenio have not.
And Gino, nice touch. A.J. almost there with his sand wedge, arguing that he got the ball up. Brantley looking down, saying, no, a little too much turf.
A little too big of a divot.
I think you would have argued on that one too, Mike.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
just a little bit too much terra firma.
Just in general anyway, argue.
Right in front of B. Lee. Maybe that was the problem.
Get in his mind so he might miss the next one.
Karch tight set, no block. Big mistake by Stein Metzger. Is Adam Johnson, maybe Jose Loyola, are they the only 2 players quick enough to really get to that low spinning set and bang away at it?
They're definitely 2 of the best at it. I know there's other players just as quick and just as fast. Emmanuel, a fantastic athlete. Karch Kiraly, he gets to a lot of balls. But Adam definitely, not only does he have good footwork, but his arm is just so fast that he's able to whip that ball as it's in its downward arc and before it gets below the top of the net.
A lot of people only know Adam Johnson as a beach player, but a superb indoor player at USC. 4 times led the Trojans to the Final Four, never took home a championship. And I saw him play a lot when he was in college and played with him briefly on the national team. And he could hit all the combination sets, right side, left side. Was really an exceptional player because of that arm swing.
He was a great all-round player, and I think just one of those in-between type of guys that really couldn't find his niche on the national team.
Wasn't nearly as physical then as he is now, even though he's 33 years of age. Much bigger, much stronger now physically. Nice transition play by Kirian Johnson. They take the 5-1 lead and are starting to get in control, not only of this game, certainly, but of the entire match.
Great play by Karch Kiraly out of the net. If you're a young player, watch Karch. Gets low, lets the ball play itself out of the net, gives Adam Johnson a perfect set, and that's the way you play those balls in the net.
The rain continues to come down here in Cincinnati. It's been intermittent all day long. Tight to the net. A.J.'s there. Karch is there. And Stein Metzger, I think, with a little self-defense. I know Anginio's into karate. I don't know if Stein Metzger is, but a pretty good move there to save his frolob, as we say, meaning his frontal lobotomy. Karch about hammered him.
Definitely self-defense, and I think Karch answered the question whether or not he's quick enough to get a low shooting ball up at the net. He rose.
Kirian Johnson now on top 6-1 after winning game 1. Both teams very difficult semifinal matches. Stuff block. Metzger is there. Stuff block off Karch's head. And that ball never cleared. Adam Johnson looking for a net violation against Stein Metzger, will not get that play. Metzger whooping it up a little bit and trying to get this crowd involved. And I want to thank the crowd for hanging in. Sometimes it has rained very, very hard here today.
Talk about a couple of frolobs, Paul. I think there was a couple of blocks that went right off the heads of the players, back over the net. Both Stein, Eugenio, Karch, and Adam just hanging tough, and Adam unable to get that last hit over the net, kind of knocked the ball into the net, forcing Stein to touch the net.
And Gino and Stein Metzger got to make a move here. These are the kind of plays that should give them a chance. Looking for 2 in the side change, another dig. Boy, that has been the story throughout this championship. Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai just putting on a clinic defensively. It's not that Anginio and Metzger are playing badly. Their level of play has still stayed at a very high point, but just can't do anything with AJ and Karch.
Making great defensive plays, but then Adam and Karch come right back with an even better one, and they transition and put the ball away for the side out.
Adam Johnson standing at the net as that ball lands harmlessly to his left. Karch Kirai missing the serve, grabbing his head, going, hey, we got this team down a little bit. Let's finish it off.
Exactly, and you could sense that in the body language of Stein Metzger after that last dig by Adam Johnson and put away, just kind of flailing his arms up in the air saying, what do I have to do to get a ball down against these guys?
Well, more than he's been doing, which is a lot. He's been hitting the ball well, hitting some good angles, but AJ and Karch, one of those days like you used to have with Whitmarsh when you make the court look very, very small. Every time you hit the ball somewhere, one of them is standing in the angle or cross court or somewhere.
Karch with a nice side out. And you're right, Paul, they're just in the zone right now. You're anticipating, and it just seems like every move you make defensively is the right one.
And no one.
Anginio, good, hard, deep shot down the line.
And the good news for Stein and Anginio is that they're only down 5. Kirai and Johnson are making all these great defensive plays, great transitions, great points, great blocks. But Anginio and Stein, a couple good jump serves, a couple good defensive and transitions of their own, and they're right back in the match.
That ball served out of bounds. Maybe now Anginio trying to go for a little bit more than he was in game 1.
Well, that's what happens when you play against the great ones. They force you to try to go outside of yourself and do something maybe that you're not really capable of doing.
Anginio, hard cross court. Now, I want to ask you, Anginio and Stein Metzger, it's one thing to make it to a final. It's another to play well week after week after week and stay in the mix. Top 5 finishes. Is this the kind of team that can do that on a consistent basis?
I think so. I mean, you saw the player profile with Todd Rogers, and he and his partner are the same way, Dax Holdren. Great ball control, throwback players. Stein and Anginio are throwback players. They play the defense, they do the jump serves, they do all the crazy little shots that experienced beach players do. And as you can tell by Dax Holdren and Todd Rogers, one of the most consistent teams on the beach.
Right now there's Karch Kirai, Adam Johnson, Jose Loyola, and Emmanuel. They're playing up in Canada this weekend at an international event. They will be in Cleveland next week. And now you have Mike Whitmarsh and Kent Steffes. Again, if you're just joining us, Whitmarsh and Steffes finished 9th this week after coming in as the #1 seeded team.
Sometimes it doesn't matter whether you're playing baseball or basketball. The universal rule is defensive play gets you through. If you're great in defense, it'll push you through the times when your offense isn't that great, whether it's baseball or basketball or volleyball. And Stein and Anginio are great defensive players, and sometimes their jump serve and their offensive game might not be that great, but their defense can pull them through the match.
That point you made about Scottie Pippen and the Bulls when they won their 6th championship, I mean, Pippen just took over that series until he hurt his back from a defensive standpoint.
It was poetry to watch the way that guy played defense and just mess with not only the guy he was guarding, but everyone else on the court. It seemed like he had a hand or flicking a finger in there and knocking a ball away.
Johnson and Kirai, 3 minutes and 21.2 seconds left in game 2, discussing a little strategy or service order mistake right here. John Martin, our umpire, clarifying things, and AJ will turn the ball over to partner Karch Kirai. Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai have 6 digs in game 2. That's been the key, and they were very, very good defensively in game 1. Anginio tapping down the line. Good side out by Anginio. Adam Johnson, again, 33 wins, number 10 all time. 2 so far this year, Tucson and Sacramento, trying to make it 2 in a row and 3 overall here. Won 4 tournaments last year, all with Karch Kirai. 7 in 1996 with Jose Loyola.
Just a great, smooth, steady side out for Karch Kirai and Adam Johnson. Stein and Anginio are going to have to take a few more risks on their serve if they want to get themselves back in the match and if they want to get Kirai and Johnson in trouble.
If they're hoping for mistakes or hoping that Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai have sort of run out of defensive magic, I think they're making a mistake. They're going to have to make some big plays and just really, really side out You know, there's 3 minutes and 11 seconds left. It's a lifetime. Game to 11. Kirian Johnson won game 1, 10-7. Last week, Kirian Johnson in Sacramento beat the new team of Jose Loyola and his partner Emmanuel, and beat them handily, 15-4 in the finals. That was in Sacramento. So clearly, Kirian Johnson are a very hot team.
Definitely back on track, Paul. We mentioned it earlier in the broadcast that they went through a little down spurt during the middle of the tour. They were mentally maybe not quite as into it as they should have been. Adam summed it up. They weren't having fun on the court, and I think the last 2 weekends they're having a lot more fun. They seem, just in their facial expressions, in their reactions, they're getting along better. They're having more fun. They're more relaxed, and that's usually when you play your best.
And making energized kind of plays. They're not just looking to force mistakes. They're hustling. They're supporting one another, digging a lot of balls. Here's Metzger going up against Adam Johnson. Karch hanging middle deep, trying to break to the ball, and Metzger able to put that ball away.
Stein with very good mechanics. He uses his arms very well to jump in his spiking motion. Just seeing the ball cross court and taking a rip at it.
A really hard packed back at the service line for both of these teams. Adam Johnson high off the block of Stein Metzger. And we'll take a look at the court here, where Adam Johnson is walking back too. You see the area around the linesman's feet. It's just absolutely completely packed down, and where Adam Johnson is, a very hard packed liftoff area. Yeah, welcome back to the AVP Open at Cincinnati, presented by Cincinnati Bell Wireless. Karch Kiraly and Adam Johnson, the number 2 seeds, in control of this championship match so far. They were the 2nd seed, won game 1, although Anginio and Stein Metzger gave them a real battle. They took that game 10-7 and came out really looking to put an end to things. Have been in complete control of game 2 and now leading 6-1. Paul Sunderland with Mike Dodd. Been raining off and on all day long, but so far really has not impacted the competition. Big bang up the middle by Adam Johnson. AJ had 13 kills in game 1 and has 9 so far in game 2.
Great side out for Adam Johnson, just ripping this ball over his head. Metzger makes the right play. He drops off the net here, but Adam putting so much heat on the ball, you just can't control it on the defensive end.
No.
Anginio, nice cut shot. Again, the fake block and retreat, that time by Adam Johnson. Match is stalled just a little bit, but primarily it seems because Anginio and Stein Metzger can't score. When they were tied at 6 in game 1, it was because of aces, hustle plays, and I'm not saying that the energy or effort has gone out of them. I'm just saying that the performance of AJ and Karch has been so smooth and so solid that they can't get anything going.
I think the word might be stifling. They're just so smooth on their siding out. Stein and Anginio haven't gotten them in trouble at all in this 2nd game. And there was also just a number of great defensive plays, defensive rallies at the very beginning of the match. Now it seems Karch and Adam have a good lead, but the teams have settled down and are starting to side out a little better.
33-year-old father of 2, Adam Johnson, to serve it up.
Oh, line. All right. There it is. Over.
And one of the more mundane opportunities in conversions for Adam Johnson and Karch Kiraly. Anginio and Stein Metzger are trying to hang in, but right now, the locomotive, the name on the front of that engine, is Karch Kiraly and Adam Johnson on top by 6. And speaking of more of Ohio, our next stop for the AVP Tour will be in Cleveland, June 27th and 28th. Join us at the Nautica Center. Great place down on the flats in Cleveland for the best of beach volleyball. For tickets, call Ticketmaster at 216-241-5555. Back here in Cincinnati, this is the AVP Open presented by Cincinnati Bell Wireless. And talk about wired. Karch Kiraly and Adam Johnson wired into everything that Anginio and Stein Metzger have tried to throw at them. AJ blocked by Metzger, and maybe one of the rare mistakes, and I'll almost call that an unforced error. I thought Kiraly was going to shoot that ball on 2 and finish that rally.
I think you're definitely seeing fatigue starting to set in with Metzger and Anginio. Yesterday they had a tough 3-game match with Heiger and Tanner. They had another tough 3-game match this morning in the semis with Garrido and Gomez. And I think that the fatigue factor is really starting to take hold of Eugenio and Stein.
And hard to get energized when you're playing against a team that they're playing like they're on cruise control, but they're just executing. They're out executing Eugenio and Stein Metzger right now. Metzger and Eugenio have had a superb tournament. Make no mistake about that. First final ever for Stein Metzger, and probably not his last. I think that's a fairly safe prediction.
And cut.
Eugenio banging cross court, and I know Eugenio not necessarily out of the mix, but he was right in the heart of things on the Miller Lite AVP Tour when he was playing with Jose Loyola. Bounced around to certain partners, thought that he could get right back into it with Randy Stoklos. That didn't work out. And as I mentioned earlier, played with a number of partners, and he and Stein Metzger have got something good going. Adam Johnson off the block. Metzger able to get to that play.
If he could have just got a little higher, we could have seen another
bicycle kick. We absolutely would have seen the bicycle kick from Eugenio earlier on. You know that Eugenio is from Brazil. He laid one up just perfect. I couldn't have bump set it better than that, and he got it with his foot.
Now, if Metzger just gets this ball up a little higher, Eugenio goes back and does the Pele double scissors kick. Spike.
Send him to France and sign him up.
And like cut. Come on.
Eugenio tapping the ball down the line.
Great athlete, Eugenio, and a really
Tinting your car windows is a good defense against the Suns.
They let it slip away at 6-all. I'm not really sure, but since that time, Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai have been rolling. A chance for Metzger here, set well back.
And cut.
Super set by Adam Johnson off the dig. Just a great set. That was Dodd-esque.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate that. But what we really saw in this last rally was what this match has been all about. Great defense on both sides, but the difference being that Kirai and Johnson finished the defensive plays. Metzger, Eugenio, tons of defensive plays, not able to convert into point opportunities.
Johnson to serve, going deep, changing the pace a little bit, deep down the line. And Metzger able to sneak that one inside of Karch Kirai. And I want to ask you, you've seen every tournament this year. Are Karch Kirai and Adam Johnson playing much better than they did? They won the first week in Tucson, but then they hit a bit of a lull. Are they back on it again and playing very well?
Most definitely. Their last two performances 2 weeks ago up in Sacramento at Folsom Lake, and this weekend here in Cincinnati, they've been outstanding in every aspect of their game.
Full field for you next week in Cleveland, and we'll see what happens to Kent Steffes and Mike Whitmarsh trying to bounce back. A disappointing 9th place finish in their first effort this week, but congratulations to a team that took care of business. Brent Doble and Dan Castillo took down the #1 seeded team of Whitmarsh and Steffes in the second round, 10-8, 10-8.
They ended up taking a 5th, a great finish for them for the weekend, and kind of a bad break for Steffes and Whitty. You know, you're just getting together as a team. You'd like to get more games than less games, and they run into their first event a single elimination format. Had it been double, they could have gone down in the losers bracket, played some more games, gotten some rhythm as a team together, and they've got the chemistry to be really tough.
Really like that team mentally. Very tough, very experienced. That ball set tight to the net, and Eugenio is blocked out of bounds. That ball just out of bounds. A question for you. Karch Kirai and Kent Steffes, although they lived about 60, 70 miles apart, as we get another look at Adam Johnson's very, very quick arm swing off the block and out of bounds. Karch and Kent used to practice together all the time. Kent and Jose lived about 15 miles apart, used to practice all the time. Kent lives in Pacific Palisades, just north of Los Angeles. Mike Whitmarsh lives in San Diego. Will that be a factor in how often or how long it will take them to get their game together?
I think it's definitely a factor.
Get up. Come on.
Another easy play for Adam and Karch.
Bang in cross court. This one is done. Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai will win their 3rd title of the year. They won the first event of the season in Tucson. Then back to last year since they've gotten together.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice play by Adam Johnson, and you can see a lot of energy now having gone out of Eugenio and Stein Metzger. But when this is done, after they shake hands and have a moment to think about this, They'll look at 10-7. They'll look at 6-all in game 1, and maybe game 2, Kirai and Johnson were just too good. But this is a team that I think if they push themselves and really fight, they can be a factor. I like the comparison to Holdren and Rogers. I think they're very similar in terms of physicality and ability. And a net violation on Stein Metzger. Wearing a heavy bandage on his right knee. Doesn't suffer from tendonitis or jumper's knee, if you will, but in chasing after a ball earlier in the tournament, ran into one of the courtside barriers or banners and suffered a laceration on his right knee, and he's been tended to by the medical staff, and not really a big factor. Easy to say when it's his knee. Under 20 seconds. Under 10 seconds. Long rally at the end. And Gino having some fun at the end. And you see the difference, the advantage that the Brazilians have over the Americans. If this game was played
World Cup.
No, if
play volleyball.
If this was played with feet and heads, Kirai and Johnson would be getting crushed. And Gino, do you give him a kill here?
You give him an attempt, but Kirai was there on the defense.
Metzger misses that serve. Stein Metzger, graduate again of UCLA in '96, went to Turkey and played professionally, had hopes of playing on the U.S. team, but said, look, Volleyball at 6'9", the #1 setter, I don't want to go somewhere and sit on the bench. I want to play, and I want to play indoors, but I can't, so I'm going to get out here on the beach. This one's over. Oh, pinky hat can't do it.
Got in the way.
You know, Karch will never take that off when he's playing volleyball on the Miller Lite AVP Tour.
And he's a little embarrassed because he was quite a soccer player when he was growing up.
He was indeed.
He wanted to show himself a little better than that last play.
Well, there's the championship. A good final until Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai just took this match to an entirely different level. They win for the 3rd time on the year. Soccer's not your game, Karch, but a win in Cincinnati will take care of everything else. Back to your shores.